Hello, history buffs. Did you know about the time when the Pope moved from Rome to Avignon, France? Why this happened? When? Who was the Pope who did it? Let's dive into this fascinating story together. Rome, the eternal city, home of the papacy for centuries. But in the year 1309, something remarkable happened. The Pope packed up and left Rome for Avignon. But why? What caused this grand exodus, and what were the consequences? The early 14th century was a chaotic time for Europe. Rome itself, the center of Christianity, was in political turmoil. The influence of local Roman nobles was growing, and the papacy found itself caught between dangerous factions. The Vatican was struggling to maintain its power, and the city of Rome had become unsafe. But let's delve deeper into the complex relationship between Pope Clement V and King Philip IV of France. Their interactions were marked by political maneuvering and mutual influence, which played a significant role in the Pope's decision to move the papal seat to Avignon. Philip IV, also known as Philip the Fair, sought to extend his influence over the Church. His ambitions were clear. He wanted to control the papacy to consolidate his power. The relationship between Pope Clement V and Philip IV was pivotal in shaping the events of the Avignon Papacy. It's essential to understand the dynamics at play. Pope Clement V, although a Frenchman, was initially torn between his duty to the Church and the pressures exerted by Philip IV. The King of France was a master of political strategy, and he knew how to leverage his position to get what he wanted. This often put Clement in a difficult position, balancing his loyalty to the Church with the demands of the French crown. One key event that highlights their intricate relationship was the suppression of the Knights Templar. Philip IV sought to dismantle the order, not only to seize their wealth, but also to eliminate a potential threat to his power. Pope Clement V, under immense pressure from Philip, eventually agreed to disband the Templars, a decision that would have lasting repercussions. As tensions continued to rise, the Pope realized that remaining in Rome would only exacerbate the conflict. The move to Avignon was not just a strategic retreat, but also a way to placate the French king while attempting to maintain the Church's autonomy. This chapter of history is a testament to the intricate dance of power and politics, where the lines between spiritual duty and earthly ambition often blurred. The relationship between Pope Clement V and King Philip IV was a defining factor in the relocation of the papal seat, setting the stage for what would become known as the Avignon Papacy. Enter Pope Clement V, a Frenchman who ascended to the papal throne in 1305. From the start of his papacy, Clement faced pressure, both from the Roman nobility and the King of France, Philip IV. In fact, Philip IV played a key role in Clement's decision-making. Tensions were rising, and Clement had to make a drastic decision. In 1309, he did the unthinkable. He moved the papal court from Rome to the city of Avignon, a place safer and, let's not forget, closer to French royal power. So why Avignon? At the time, Avignon was technically not part of France but was under the control of the Kingdom of Naples, which was a close ally to France. Avignon was also relatively peaceful, far from the dangers of Italian politics. The city provided the Pope with a stable and secure location from which to run the Church, and, conveniently, it was much closer to the French king's sphere of influence. Clement V set up his court in Avignon, and for the next 67 years the popes would remain there, ruling over the Catholic world not from Rome, but from this small city in southern France. This period, known as the Avignon Papacy or Babylonian captivity of the papacy, would see 7 popes, all French, residing there. Avignon grew wealthy and influential as a result of this. But back in Rome, things weren't looking so good. The city had fallen into neglect. Without the Pope and the Church's influence, political instability worsened, and the Roman economy took a hit. People started to question, was the Pope ever coming back? Or was Avignon going to be the new, permanent home of the papacy? Finally, in 1377, after nearly 7 decades away, Pope Gregory XI made a historic decision to return the papacy to Rome. But why? Well, there were a few reasons. First, the political situation in Rome had stabilized somewhat, and the city was urging the Pope's return. Second, a growing movement within the Church and among the people demanded that the Pope return to the traditional seat of St. Peter. And let's not forget the role of Catherine of Siena, one of the most famous saints in Catholic history. She personally implored Gregory XI to return to Rome, warning him of the dangers to his soul if he continued to reside in Avignon. So, in January 1377, Gregory XI made the journey back to Rome. However, his return didn't solve all of the Church's problems. Gregory died just a year later, sparking the infamous Western Schism, a period when multiple popes claimed the papacy, leading to even greater divisions within the Church. The Avignon Papacy may have ended, but its legacy was lasting. It left behind an image of a papacy heavily influenced by French politics and a church struggling to re-establish its authority in Rome. It would take years and a lot of maneuvering for the papacy to fully restore its power and influence in the Eternal City. So, what began as an effort to escape the dangers of Rome ended with nearly 7 decades of papal rule from Avignon. And while the papacy eventually returned to Rome, the impact of this move echoed through the centuries. The Avignon Papacy is a reminder of how politics, power, and geography can shape even the holiest of institutions. And next time you visit Avignon, you can thank Pope Clement V for turning a small city in southern France into a temporary papal paradise.